Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Talk of Fame podcast. I'm Kylie Montigney, and I'm so excited to welcome Autumn Marie Buysse. Autumn's a Nashville-based songwriter with over 100 release cuts spanning country and pop. Autumn is assigned to a publishing deal with Bigger Picture Entertainment via Sony Music Publishing and has been written viral successes like Icing and Thirsty by Breland, Me or the Dawn by Tyler Braden, Magical by Twice, which was second album on Billboard, Roses by Stela Cole, Lost One Standing by Zoe Clark, Hers Ain't Not Mine by Austin Brown, Autumn Body by Caleb Hearn, and Hate You the Least by Kyle Hume. An extra by Chandler Leighton. Autumn's song Friendly Fire about military suicide won the 2021 ASCAP Jay Gorney Award in December 2022 Bluebird Golden Pick Competition and placed third in the 2022 American Songwriter Lyric Competition. Her song I Don't Take Pictures Anymore was performed by Brooke Alexx live on NBC for the debut season of American Song Contest. Her song Icing by Breland was performed live on CBS for the 2024 NFL kickoff, and her song If We Had a Daughter placed twice in the 2021 International Songwriting Competition. Autumn also composed a 45-minute soundtrack for the nationally touring ice skating musical Fairtytales on Ice, and also had songs placed in shows like hit reality show Love Island UK, and she's currently does the majority of her songwriting in Nashville, but she hops on flights to LA, New York City, London, Sweden, and South Korea, which I'm so jealous of, for songwriting trips every year. Welcome to the show, Autumn. I'm so excited to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I can't wait.
So, you are doing a million things right now. You're always traveling and always making music. So, what initially first drew you to songwriting and how did you kind of break into the industry?
So growing up, I went to a music school called School of Rock, which was actually what the Jack Black School of Rock movie was based on. So I grew up learning guitar, learning drums, learning vocals, keyboard, everything that you can imagine. And then thankfully, growing up, one of my best friends loved songwriting. And before we knew what co-writing was, her and I were co-writing songs since the time that we were little. And co-writing, for those of you who don't know what that is, that's collaborating on a song together. So that's two or more writers coming together to work on one song, which is how most songs are written. So her and I were co-writing these songs when we were growing up. And then once it came time to go to college, we were trying to think of what we wanted to do. And she went into the smart jobs, you know what I mean? She went into the finance world and the social work world and all of those cool things. And I went into the music world. So now I'm in Nashville, Tennessee, and I write songs for country and pop artists. And then I also pitch songs to artists in like the pop, country, and K-pop realms.
Oh my gosh. So, to go back to School of Rock, like, were you like there when they were filming all that, or was kind of like somewhere in the mix of like after or something?
So the movie was based off of the music school. So when they filmed the movie, the school had already been in place for a good bit of years before then.
Oh my
So we
God.
would go in and we had themed bands. So we would spend a couple months learning basically every song by Black Sabbath. And then the next couple months we would dive into AC/DC or we would dive into 80s pop. And it was a really great way to learn musicianship because a huge part of songwriting is just mastery at your craft and mastery at music theory and instrumental technique and layering, and all of that really pays into production and sonics and rhythmic prosody and a lot of these niche things that make
Mhm.
up songs.
Like, honestly, I didn't even know School of Rock was actually a real life school. Like, to be quite honest, I thought it was just a movie because it was all over Nickelodeon. Growing up watching it, I thought it was just a plain old school that's fictionary, most stuff on Nickelodeon, not like an actual school.
No, it was definitely a real school. It was so fun. And then eventually I started teaching at School of Rock. So I when I was young, 16, 17, 18, I was teaching their School of Rock youth program. And then I was teaching Green Day camp since I'm a big Green Day fan
Oh my
and all this
gosh.
stuff. But I mean, there was really a time where I considered going into music education, and I mean, I still would happily teach someday.
You definitely should. If you did teach a little bit of things at School of Rock, I mean, you can always just do a little mix of both of them.
No, definitely, definitely.
But to going back to Green Day, like, do you have a favorite Green Day song? Because I'm a big Green Day fan too. So that's all.
Ah, there we go. Well, I'm a diehard fan. My favorite Green Day song is probably "What's Her Name" off of
Oh
the
my
American.
gosh. Mine is probably American Idiot for some reason. That is really a great song, even though not a lot of maybe youngsters that maybe listen to this podcast are like, why is an idiot in a song? Or why is it one of the most known songs and it's your favorite? But any Green Day song, honestly, forever hits song, to be
I
quite
mean,
honest.
I loved American Idiot so much that I painted the album cover, and it's still hanging on my wall.
What
When I
actually?
think about Green Day, I mean, with songwriting, I think that's what really made them stand apart as a band. I mean, it's obviously their showmanship and their live show is top notch, but also their songwriting. I mean, Billy Joe Armstrong, the lead singer who writes all of their music, is an incredible melodist, and he's great at having interesting titles and memorable lyrical lines and using instruments as part of the main melody in songs. So I've
Hmm.
taken a lot from
Oh,
my songwriting.
yeah, and they're still as big today in 2025 than they were when they first started out.
I know they're huge. I mean, I've seen them live more times than I can count, and their stadiums are always packed out, and everybody knows all their lyrics. It's
Oh, I'm
unbelievable.
sure. One of my friends actually went to see them a few months ago. I don't know if it was like they went on tour or something a few months ago. And she was saying that it was literally like sold out and everything. Like it was like literally a packed show.
It's always is. They really put on a show as if they're still 20 years old. It's incredible.
I know, like I haven't went to a Green Day concert yet, but I have to one these days. I just never
No,
had a
yeah,
chance
me
actually.
too.
So to go into your music is songwriting, so you ran over 190 release cuts. So what was the first song that made you feel like you made it in this industry? I know you have written a bunch of songs, maybe some songs that you maybe not never put out into the world, or maybe you released. Like, what was kind of the first I Made It song that you ran?
It was funny because when it comes to the idea of making it, I remember there used to be a little venue in Nashville called Belcourt Taps, and it's not around anymore, unfortunately. But it was this crappy little bar, and we would play writers' rounds there. And a writers' round is where 3 to 4 writers sit on stage and they take turns playing original music for an hour. And I remember thinking, if I am ever lucky enough to play Belcourt Taps, I will have made it. I everything after that will just be the cherry on top will just be the icing. And then when I played it, I years ago, I remember thinking, I've made it. And that's so crazy because I mean, now in the past month, I've had 2 songs performed at the Opry, and I've had a song on an album that just did 1 million physical sales and all of this crazy stuff. But still, like, I felt like I made it back then at that little mini goal when I looked at that and I said, wow, if I was lucky enough to share music with people and be chosen to be on that stage, that would be the coolest thing ever. When it comes to a song that made me feel like I made it, my brain immediately goes to a song from years ago called Depends on the Friend that was by an artist called Brooke Lynn, and I wrote it with Brooke and Reagan Rousseau. And it was the first song that I ever had do any real traction online. And we filmed this funny little TikTok in my living room. And it was crazy because the video concept was my idea and the song concept was my idea and the chorus melody was my idea, and I couldn't believe that something out of my brain had translated to so many people. And then obviously Reagan came in with this incredible pre-chorus and Brooke had this incredible vocal on the song, and we all worked together. And I thought that it was wild that I was able to be around such talent and contribute so meaningfully to something that connected with so many people. So when it was doing millions and millions of views and people were reacting the exact same way that I anticipated them to react to the song, they were saying the exact comments that I thought people were going to comment on the song, I was like, okay, I think I might have a knack for this.
Like especially if your song and your whole concept went viral, I'd be like, nothing's ever gonna top this anymore. No matter if I get another million copies sold or something. This TikTok video would never top anything else. I don't care if I post on TikTok anymore, let
Yeah.
alone
Yeah.
anything else.
Yeah. No, you're completely right.
Like, especially with TikTok literally went banned 2 weeks ago and then
Yeah.
came back 4 hours later. I mean, to be honest, that was the most depressing hours of my life.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
Like when it went banned, I was like, that's how I find most of my guests is TikTok or my inspiration. Like, how
That's
do you feel
fun.
about that though? Like the TikTok ban?
So it's interesting because as a songwriter for artists, I don't release music and therefore I don't TikTok. And that being said, all of my friends TikTok, and our song success is largely dependent on that. I mean, my song Last One Standing by Zoe Clark went viral because of it. My song Hers Ain't Mine by Austin Brown, my song Easy Does It by Emily Ann Roberts. And without TikTok, we wouldn't have been able to hit these audiences and hit this reach. And I think that one of the greatest things about the TikTok algorithm is that it's really good at finding your niche of people that will appreciate your music. So there's songs that if you played them for a group of 100 random people, maybe not all of them would appreciate it or see the value in it. But there's groups of 100 people that would. So TikTok is really good at finding those sectors. Like, for example, my Last One Standing song with Zoe Clark was very much so marketed towards younger women in their 20s, late teens, or early 20s that were kind of bitter about love and relationships. And TikTok found the people that were consuming that content and then fed it to that demographic. For example, Hers Ain't Mine is completely different. It's a male country song, and it's about men that have been happily married for a while and love their wife but think she's kind of crazy, which is most men. So
Mhm.
it targeted that 30, 40, 50-year-old married man demographic, which is a huge demographic, but is not the entire world, you know?
Mhm.
Then, for example, with Easy Does It by Emily Ann Roberts, that's completely different. That's a song for women probably in their late 20s or on into their 30s, 40s that are happily married and secure with a low drama man that they've been with for a long time, people that are in peaceful long-term relationships, which is the complete opposite demographic of Last One Standing. So TikTok does this beautiful thing of finding that demographic and really sending your song there so that it could be received as well as possible.
Oh my gosh, like it's like a big thing for singer-songwriters in general, and for people that maybe have like a small business or a podcast or something. Most of their audiences come from TikTok if they post a bunch of reels, maybe once or twice a day or a couple times a week. Like most of people's audiences came from TikTok or maybe YouTube Shorts because you can literally post anything and it might be relatable to some people, depending
100%.
on the situation or the episode or the song. Because every song has a different meaning in people's lives, no matter if they're in a healthy 20 long year relationship or a mental health podcast with people that dealt with anxiety or depression.
Totally.
Like every story has a mission in people's lives. And when TikTok went banned, and if TikTok was still banned today, I mean, like a lot of people would suffer from all that. And I know when I was on that TikTok ban that day on the 19th, I was like, how am I going to promote my podcast now? Like, how am I supposed to promote this podcast and get listeners if
Hmm.
TikTok is banned? Because that's where I find most of my views is from TikTok.
Yep, 100%. I mean, it was really fabulous that it's still in the marketplace. And I think that even if it did disappear, though, there's definitely other apps that are going to take its place. And I think that one of the good things of it disappearing for a day is it taught artists that they cannot rely solely on one facet of their career. They can't rely on just touring because what if COVID happens? They can't rely on just streaming because Spotify payouts change all the time. They can't rely on just TikTok because, as you said, the app could just disappear. So I think it really emphasizes the importance of diversifying your fan base and diversifying your income streams as a creative.
That's true. And I don't think TikTok is even on the App Store anymore. Like, I don't think it's even there
Wild.
where people can't like download it or anything.
Crazy.
So I'm like, well, at least thank God for the people that have the app still downloaded and didn't delete it because you can't find it in the App Store anymore and download it.
Wild, wild, wild.
I'm like, thankfully I didn't delete TikTok or
Yeah, seriously.
like my life would be boring every single day, but I'm like, I can't imagine being one of those people.
Yeah.
So you signed with Bigger Picture Entertainment via Sony Music Publishing. So how did that partnership come about?
So that's a great question. I had been meeting with a lot of different publishing companies in Nashville via a program with ASCAP called the GPS program that I was selected for that sets up budding young writers with publishing meetings. And I met with five different publishers, and they were all fabulous. But the issue was all of them were mainly country and had very little, if any, pop presence. And I was looking for a company that had a real country and a real pop presence. And when I say pop, I don't mean singer-songwriter. I mean like Dua Lipa type pop, Bruno
Mhm.
Mars pop, like mainstream pop music. And Nashville doesn't have a lot of that, which is fine. It's Music City for country music, but as somebody who started off in pop music, that was a non-negotiable for me. So back in 2021, I received an email from this company called Bigger Picture Entertainment, and they're based out in London and owned by this fabulous producer, Digital Farm Animals. He did the latest Jonas Brothers single, Slow Motion. He did the country number one, Miles on It by Kane Brown and Marshmello. He did Leave Before You Love Me, Jonas Brothers, Be the One, Dua Lipa. I mean, the list goes on and on. No Money by Galantis, all of these huge songs. And he started up this company, and one of the A&Rs reached out to me. And through them, I got to know the whole team: Luke Burrows, Sarah Purdy, Jason Sharp, Mark Feynman, all of these incredibly honest, intellectual, progressive, forward-thinking music industry executives. And getting to know them, I was like, I need to work with this team. But the issue is that they've never worked in country before. And I was the only one on their roster, or they were considering on their roster, that would have been based in Nashville and would have done country. So when I was talking to them with the help of my amazing lawyer, Rachel Gutman, we were able to create a deal where we brought Sony Music Publishing Nashville onto the deal and Sony Music Publishing UK to help bolster the deal and add that country support so that I'm able to do artist rights in country and pop and not have that weird barrier to entry. And I mean, I am 3 years into my deal and I could not be happier. They are the most hardworking, loyal, dedicated people that I've ever met. I mean, one of the issues about Nashville is that a lot of publishers will talk around things and not be honest with you. And I think the most incredible thing about my team is they are brutally honest. If they don't like a song, they're going to tell me. And if they love a song, they are going to be so unbelievably supportive. And that transparency has really helped me work smarter instead of harder. I mean, obviously I work hard, but it helps save time because I don't work on projects that they don't really believe in. You know, I'm able to cut off projects that don't make sense and really just hone in on the ones that do. And it's really helped me grow as a writer. And then being mentored by Digital Farm Animals, the producer that owns Bigger Picture, has been incredible because I've learned how to write pop lyrics more concisely and how to topically make a song that's going to relate to a lot of people in a meaningful way. And it's really taught me how to write that mainstream pop that I've been dying to write my entire life. And I feel like in the past 3 years, I've made huge strides as a writer just because of the team that's supporting me.
I love it. So, to wrap this episode up, so are there any upcoming projects or collaborations come out soon?
Yeah, there's actually a lot of really exciting ones. Thankfully, two of my favorite releases of the upcoming ones have just come out, which is Near the Dawn, which is a single off of Tyler Braden's project, and he's killing it. And then that viral success, Easy Does It with Emily Ann Roberts. But I have a lot of songs coming out on Atlas's first album with Broken Bow Records, which is going to be fabulous. I have a couple songs on Zandy Hollup's record with Big Loud. I have Cole Phillips, the single after this next one. I have that one. I have the title track for Emily Ann Roberts from Starstruck coming out. I have a lot coming out with Austin Tolliver on Average Joe's, a lot coming out on the Austin Brown album, the next Hayden Kaufman single, the next Mae Muller single. I have, and then a lot of cuts with a lot of other smaller artists like Twinny, Lane Smith, Young Rising Suns, Kanan Cox, Claire Ernst, McKenna Hartland, Trevor Martin, a lot of really promising acts that have been doing really cool things. And then I have an entire album coming out with Kyle Hume, who's been one of my closest collaborators. And then I have one with Stela on Capitol Records. That should be a single dropping this spring. So between all of those, I'm just really lucky to work with such incredible people and hoping that they connect online and connect with people at concerts and live shows. And I'm really excited to be working on more stuff that's going to be coming out in 2026.
Awesome. I'm so excited for all of these. I'm sure they'll be amazing. I'll make sure to be staying tuned and I'll make sure everyone stay tuned as well. But thank you so much, Autumn, for coming on and talking with us today, being also so flexible. I really appreciate you coming on and taking the time and being so amazing because I really appreciate so much and all the hard work that you're doing.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. Thank you everyone for listening. I hope you guys enjoy this episode. Make sure to like, subscribe, and review, and I'll talk to you guys very soon.